Hey, howdy ho, all you motherfucking Kingslayers out there. Yes, that's right. I've watched all Night of the Seven Kingdom episodes. I'm so fucking obsessed. On top of rewatching all 8 amazing and pristine seasons of Game of Thrones.
Nerd.
Currently. Dude, maybe.
Are you one of those review bombers that went over to Breaking Bad?
Maybe. I think I'd fit the role too because I've only watched the first 2 seasons of Breaking Bad. So I think in order to fit that category, you had to have not watched that episode / part of the show to even categorize yourself as that low life.
I mean, to be fair, Breaking Bad started it first, so.
I mean, that's true. But I will say, we're not here to talk about Game of Thrones. But before we get into our main topic, I am excited to announce we do have the podcast on Apple Music or Apple Podcasts. I always mix the two up.
Oh, Amazon Music and Apple.
Yeah, they always confuse me. But we're on Apple now. You can find the podcast there, and you can also find us on Spotify. Also, if you guys have been listening to us on there already, we know there's an issue with part of the uploads. Trying to figure that out. For some reason, they keep clicking in and out. No
yeah, the audio
why.
cuts out for some weird reason.
I don't know. We're trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
But it's an issue we do know about, so no stress, no worry.
And don't forget, we've always been on YouTube. Those ones are uploaded individually, so you can always go and watch it without any issues there as well.
Yeah, one day we're gonna show our pretty faces on YouTube. Whenever I get the cum off of my camera and clean it, maybe we will.
I didn't know where you were going with that. I gone so many different directions. Anyways, yeah. So obviously we've been trying to implement some changes. You might notice a shift in quality, in an audio quality, particularly with the way the mics sound. Ryan, sorry.
Dude, suck my fucking cock. You know how I feel about those early episodes already. I sound like some whiny fucking bitch from Mythalania, bro.
No, that's just your regular speaking voice, Brett.
Kill yourself.
But anyways, we switched over from our original website that we're using because we do these virtually. And I just want to say, fuck that original one. That one fucking sucked, and this one is so much better. We're still getting used to it. And then
We've also rebranded.
Yeah. Finally, if you have been on the YouTube, then you'll notice that the first 40-ish episodes have our original logo, which was always kind of meant to be a placeholder until we got something more official going, I guess.
Yeah.
But Ryan was able to procure or commission a new logo for us, and so that one is the one that is up now. Everything on Spotify and Apple gets updated immediately, so that one, it will always have the correct logo. And so starting with our last episode from or a couple weeks ago on Long Legs, that's the first one that on YouTube at least that will show the official new logo. So
yeah. So while we were kind of in the mix of transitioning the podcast a little bit more mainstream out to other platforms, kind of getting a new look to the channel, we were kind of stumped at what to talk about to come back to, because Leo, you fucked up that we were supposed to watch Scream 7 this week.
Okay, that was not my fault. There was a gap in the schedule.
You're literally the scheduling guy.
And but you and me talked about it together. Okay, this is not solely my fault.
You mentioned me in this, bro. That's not fair.
All I'm saying is that there was a gap in the schedule that we weren't aware of. I don't know why. For some reason, when we made it the first time, we skipped a week or something. It is entirely possible that we were just we'll just take this week as a break. But then we decided to take last week as a break as well. But anyways, yeah. So sorry about that. Incorrect tale to the last episode. We will not be doing Scream 7 today because Scream 7 does not come out for another couple of days.
We're doing it next week.
Next week.
Yeah, we're doing it next week. So I decided to like bring up the idea to Leo. Why don't we talk about like Disney? I assume like the Paramount, Netflix, Warner Brothers stuff is gonna appear in the conversation at some point because I feel like it has a place here. Just because
you mean the biggest love triangle of cinema in history of our generation?
No, the biggest three-way of all time, bro. Just because outside of them, I feel like every single day I've just seen Disney making the wrong decision with everything that they've been doing with not only their franchises, but like their Disney parks are extremely expensive now. They're becoming like very counterculture, I feel like people are not wanting to bring their families. So it feels like all aspects of the brand of Disney are kind of fumbling right now. And me and you, like, we send each other stuff here and there, but I figured we'd talk more about it because I know we have like better, more complex thoughts about, haha, bro, I can't believe they're doing this.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not totally in the loop on the Disney stuff. Like I've heard like some of the major things. Like obviously I know like is it the main like Disney CEO who's stepping down?
Yeah, so Bob Iger stepping down.
Yeah, I heard about that. I heard about some of the Lucasfilm stuff. Similar deal. I know the more big thing that I sent you a couple days ago, or maybe a week ago or so, was the reported losses from that Snow White movie. I
think it was like 140 million or something.
Something like that. It was a good amount of money that they lost out on that movie.
Well, that's kind of what I feel like has just been the Disney brand, which is ironic because talking now about the Disney brand, you'd sit here and be like, you guys are fucking idiots. Look at Zootopia 2.
Oh,
like, Zootopia 2 is about to break $2 billion and no one's talking about it, which is insane. And also, the new successor, Josh D'Amaro, who's 54, to Josh Iger, is taking his place on March 18th of this year. So it's relatively soon. Disney just as a brand seems like it's going through a shakeup because not only is Disney as a whole going through a shakeup, but like Lucasfilm as well with what's her name stepping down,
Kathleen Kennedy,
and Dave Filoni taking over with who's the co-person he's doing it with?
Dave Filoni will lead the studio as president and chief creative officer alongside Lin-Wen Brennan as co-president. I hope I said that name right.
I think so. Now that like we're talking about Lucasfilms, it's starting to spark my memory. I think the reason why I decided to like bring this idea to you is because the idea of Grogu or Mandalorian and Grogu is going to be such a fascinating tale to me in a year, or just to anybody, because I genuinely think the film is going to bomb.
I don't know about that. I think I've told you this before, but I think the Mandalorian, like as a brand, is too big to fail. But I definitely think it's gonna shift things if there's a what's the word I'm looking for? If there's a less than enthused reaction to it. I mean, already people are kind of complaining, rightfully so, about certain things in relation to that movie. I can't say that I'm as excited about it when I first heard about it. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure it'll make its money. It's just going to depend on like what the critic reviews are, what the like Star Wars like diehard fans, their reactions are to it and whatnot. And because we all know how, sensitive Disney is when it comes to this stuff.
I decided to look it up. Mandalorian and Grogu is going to be one of those glasses half full or empty situations when I feel like if you're looking at the budget's $166 million. It's a lot, but it's also the lowest of all the theatrical film, Star Wars film budgets, I think, in the Disney era.
That makes sense just based on the look of the trailer.
And that's what I was going to say. I'm like, I don't know how to feel about this because I do not see this film breaking 100 million.
How much did you say the budget was for the
166 without
So I mean, yeah, that's about the budget of like a season of The Mandalorian.
Is it?
Like season 2 roughly was about like $120 million for the whole 8-episode season.
See, bro, if there's like a $60 million difference between the two, and the difference is as minimal as my left and right testicular hair, then we got a problem. Because looking at the trailers, it makes me so unenthusiastic. And I did want to like talk about this because I feel like me and you are two opposite sides of the same coin when it comes to Star Wars.
In what regard?
And I feel like we both have the same complaints towards Star Wars, but you watch a lot more and care more about, like, I feel like the franchise than I do.
Oh, you mean because I like the Clone Wars and stuff?
Yeah, you like the animated stuff. You like Andor. Like, you're so much more.
Okay, hold on a second though. Andor is different. That one is just
okay, but my point still stands. You watch all of like the lore centric.
Yeah, I'm a lot more invested in like the wider universe stuff. I've never read any of the EU stuff, like the books, the old books and shit. That stuff's never really interested me. But I would say, like, as opposed to you, I watched all of the Clone Wars. I watched all the Rebels. I didn't touch Resistance. That one was not for me.
Is that the one with the kids?
No. They're all with
thinking
kids.
of Skeleton Crew. Sorry.
That one actually, I haven't watched that one yet. You know what? Maybe I shouldn't claim that because I didn't watch The Acolyte either. And I don't know if I ever will.
I don't think anyone wants to watch I watched one episode. Yuck.
I'm trying to think like what other Star Wars shit has there been.
I don't know.
I do need to watch The Skeleton Crew because that one actually looked really interesting. I was so busy with other stuff, and some of the Star Wars stuff hasn't been that great that I was kind of like just putting it off. Acolyte, I had hope for when I saw the initial trailer, but then everyone started saying it was ass, and I was like, I'm not gonna watch that.
Yeah, I'm the type of like fucking fan where I just like the movies. Some of the shows are cool, but I think I'm just like not interested in Star Wars after the Book of Boba Fett. That's how bad I thought the series was. And I don't think it helped too because that's when Star Wars was like peak bad, I feel too. Coming like trying to find their identity. The Rise of Skywalker. Still like this was all within a 2-year span. Like, dude, it's just so bad. And then, I don't know, I think you saw the Variety article about Disney's acts like Hunt for Ben Solo.
The Steven Soderbergh movie?
Steven Soderbergh film that got axed before they even heard anything about it or when I say heard anything about it, I mean like a budget, locations, anything like that, because they just thought no one would be interested. And I think the quote was, but he's dead. I think that's literally what the quote was. One of the execs told Steven Soderbergh. And I think this is kind of like the bubble Disney has gotten themselves in. Even if it's not Disney themselves and it's Lucasfilm. But I do remember seeing in the article that it was the Disney higher-ups like Bob Iger and the Suits who said this, and it wasn't Kathleen Kennedy or David Filoni or Dave Filoni.
Listen.
I'm listening, bitch.
As much as I think we all like, and me especially, like to blame everything on like the studio execs, that is a legitimate like question. Like, but he's dead. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how, and I haven't heard anything to like really hammer in how they were gonna justify.
But dude,
the story.
I get that. it's bro.
It
They
does
literally
sound
just brought
interesting, though.
Palpatine back though. Like that's the most invalid thing I think you could have said at that time.
That's fair. That's
You literally
fair.
just brought Palpatine back and made a fucking him a bastard child. Like what is going on, bro?
That's a fair point. And that was gonna be my next thing was like, you know, I don't think the Disney era of Lucasfilm has been really great in terms of like matching continuity and whatnot.
Well, I think the issue is Dave Filoni's Star Wars is very different from what I think original Star Wars is, and I think that's we're starting to find that divide a little
Well,
bit.
I mean, I think you're attributing a lot of stuff to Dave Filoni that doesn't actually have anything to do with him. Like,
I don't know. I cater most of the Disney Plus stuff and the animated stuff to Dave Filoni.
I mean, animated a little bit, but
Did he not make the like most popular Clone Wars show?
I mean, yeah, but that was
That's the most popular thing, bro.
Yeah, but that was before Lucasfilm got sold to Disney.
Okay, it's still Dave Filoni.
But like obviously Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have been really important with like the Mandalorian stuff and its spin-offs.
But like, bro,
I don't think Dave
really
Filoni
been hot
had.
since season 2.
I don't think Dave Filoni has had anything to do with that abysmal Obi-Wan Kenobi show.
No, that was pure Kathleen Kennedy. I feel
Yeah,
that was a disaster before anything even
and
started.
I'm pretty sure they were involved to some extent in the Book of Boba Fett.
That's all, bro. They should be banished. I can't tell you how much that show really turned me off of Star Wars. And maybe that's my issue.
I don't think it was that bad.
No,
but
dude, when I tell you, I visibly, like, I remember sitting in my chair at my desk and just putting my head in between my hands, just like palms down and shit like that, shaking. I'm just like, I'm not even the biggest Star Wars person, but it just felt so far removed from what I felt like got people invested and really found a love with what Star Wars was and took what they thought TikTok culture thought it was. And that's what I really think stands on what Disney as a brand has turned into these past few years. And that's my main issue, I feel.
Mm.
The TikTokification of everything.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic. I think Dave Filoni has been a part of some really great things about Star Wars, but the cracks are definitely have been starting to show for like a long while. Like ever since the Last Jedi, Star Wars has just been struggling to find its footing, and I do think it is a situation of like too many cooks in the kitchen as well. Like you've got so many things that like don't have anything to do with anything. Like Dave Filoni obviously has his version of what he thinks Star Wars is and should be, and I think a lot of that is based off of his experiences working directly under George Lucas, like during those Clone Wars years. And then you've got, you know, what Tony Gilroy was doing with Andor, and then you've got what Kathleen Kennedy was doing with like making or trying to make some of the more like legacy characters come back, and that just didn't work at all. I don't know. I'm a little more excited for the Dave Filoni stuff because at least I kind of have a better understanding of what that's going to look like and what I can get out of it. I think the experimenting stuff with the Disney stuff, like the Disney regime, just fell flat on its face, and I'm really looking forward to getting away from that.
I think if Dave Filoni can successfully release 2 films that they announce, it's already much better than it was before. Because, bro, I think that was also the biggest downfall for the film side of Star Wars is it felt like every year they were announcing another 2 films
That never got released.
That were just going to get canceled in 3 years. And that went on for a good 3 years, it felt like. And their next film is now this season 4 wannabe film wannabe season 4 type of thing going on. And like, I'll tell you, I am not going to see it. Well, like,
we are going to go see it. What are you talking about?
What?
That's on our schedule. We're going to go see that, and we're going to talk about it. You can't say you're not going to see it.
Ooh, we might have to talk about that.
There's no talking about it, bro. We already talked about it. We're seeing that movie.
I don't know, bro. I'll be honest, like, the film looks so uninteresting, and that's my biggest issue. And I feel like that's what Star Wars has kind of turned into, because
I feel like you can say that for a lot of the movies, though, like nowadays.
I don't know.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying if we're still committed to going and seeing Scream 7, even though neither of us wants to fucking go watch it.
I mean, but it's a notorious franchise, at least.
What, Scream?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I think they're all notorious for different reasons.
Yeah, but I don't know. I still feel like it still has, like, a sembling of what it once was, and whatever Star Wars is now is so much of not what it was, but it's still trying to be that, which I wish they would just commit to doing their own thing, which is what I'm hoping they do now.
Yeah.
Because, bro, they're still going back to, like, the whole Melissa Barrera stuff, whatever, but they're still going back to Sydney. They're going back to the original writer. Like, they still have those foundational pieces, whether you like it or not, that Disney is objectionably failing with the Rey character. Like, bro, that's going to get canceled next, too.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Exactly. And,
well, it's crazy that there were, like, rumors for the longest time. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think either Kathleen Kennedy or Disney or Daisy Ridley ever had any intention of revisiting that character. But they said it just to say it. They were so desperate for something, and they heard the rumors, and they were like, let's just do this. Because, like, everything else kept getting canceled, and or just, like, flat out failing. Like, I don't think we haven't gotten, like, a Star Wars theatrical release since The Rise of Skywalker. So that's 2019. It's, it's been, 7 years now? It's almost been a decade.
Disgusting. That's disgusting.
And, Rise of Skywalker is nobody's favorite movie.
No, I guarantee you there's some tasteless person out there.
So yeah, I think that's the main issue with The Mandalorian and Grogu too. I don't think The Mandalorian and Grogu was ever supposed to be a movie, but after sort of like some of the issues with The Mandalorian season 3, and then you have they have nothing else to fall on other than The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian and Grogu was carrying Star Wars for the longest time. And then obviously we did get Andor, and that's kind of been the new standard, sort of. Especially with the season 3 of The Mandalorian not being great. But now it's just like this. That's why we're getting this movie, because they're like they need something to capitalize on, and I think that's the main flaw of the movie. Like, even if the movie is better than I think it's going to be, I think it's still just an odd choice to put that as their next big theatrical
it's just release. An obvious cash grab. That's the issue with it.
Yeah. And I'm sure it'll still be, like, fun, hopefully. But,
sure.
Because I still enjoyed parts of season 3. It's
You're one of the 5 people who probably watched it.
You didn't watch it?
No, dude.
You
no.
didn't watch The Mandalorian
no,
season 3?
I told you. Because I watched
'cause
the
the Book of Boba
Mandalorian, dude.
Fett?
I watched his story finish in the Book of Boba Fett. Yes, that's what
It
I'm
didn't
trying
finish
to
in
say.
the Book of Boba Fett.
Yes, it did, bro.
No, it didn't.
Stop. Whatever they put in season 3 is absolute bullshit, bro. It's so.
I mean, I'm not
hate
gonna
it.
tell you to watch it. Well, actually, maybe I should, because we're gonna go fucking see the movie. You're gonna have no clue
I'm
what's going
fighting
on.
you on it, bro. I'm
But
fighting you on it.
but I mean,
We haven't even spoken about the god awful Ryan Gosling film coming out
oh,
too. Like, I'm sorry, but who the fuck is interested in a Starfighter movie? It like for me, it just feels like they don't know what audience they're trying to cater towards, and
well,
it's damaging the product too.
Starfighter honestly feels like the mangled corpse of Rogue
The
Squadron.
Rogue
Because we were gonna get the Patty Jenkins directed Rogue Squadron, another movie
Thank
that
God.
never saw the light
No,
of
that's
day.
one I'm glad didn't see the light of day, bro. After seeing
also
Wonder
the
Woman
Taika Waititi
84,
movie
holy
as well.
shit.
Like, where's the Taika Waititi movie?
That's
But
another
anyways, yeah.
disappeared
So
corpse.
I think Disney saw the success of Deadpool and Wolverine, and we're like, let's get that dude to do a Star Wars movie. He'll make a fun Star Wars movie. And Deadpool and Wolverine is a fun movie, but that's kind of it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what else there is to say about that movie. So yeah, I don't really have much expectations for Starfighter. I don't really know what it's about. And I will say I can't really feel myself to be that excited over the Mandalorian Grogu with that. So,
like I said, I think their next 2 films are just going to be box office, like not bombs, but I definitely think they're going to severely underperform and kind of bring them back to where they've been the last few years, unfortunately. I think this is a good transition, though.
Yeah.
Because I don't think a lot of people are talking about the significance of Avengers Doomsday coming at the end of this year. Because the closer that date comes, the more I feel the weight of the MCU making or breaking with that film. Like, truly making or breaking. Like, I feel if the film... I don't think the box office matters in the perception of the future, but I think if the Marvel films want to continue to be anywhere where they are now or what they were, because they're even not doing that well now, but if they even want to be anywhere near where they are now or back what they were, they need to have this Avengers film make a lot of money and be one of the best critically received MCU films since the last Avengers film. Or Spider-Man No Way Home. Because, to be honest, man, I know you haven't watched Wonder Man. I really liked it. But you can feel Marvel kind of scrapping for ideas with the show, I feel. And I don't know. I need them to do something.
It's not Marvel, it's Disney. Like, it's the same thing with Star Wars. Like, they've lost their identity, and so now they're just trying to figure out what to do next. And that's really why I'm not excited for Doomsday that much. Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like more of the same, like, stupid shit with Disney and how they run things and whatnot. I can't feel excited for Avengers Doomsday because as much as I liked, like, the last couple of Marvel films and some of the, like, other projects, that, like, I don't know what Doomsday's building towards. Like, I'm sure it'll make its money, but I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Money is one thing. It needs to be critically a hit.
Yeah, I mean, I think in order for us to really get invested in the Marvel brand again and to, like, really want to see what's coming next, it kind of has to do, I don't know, it just, there's too much, the bar is too high in that regard, and I don't think the setup is going to work for it, which is what I'm most afraid of. I'm still going to go see it, but in all honesty, I'm much more excited for Dune Part 3 than Doomsday.
Well, I'll kind of add on to your point in saying that 2026 is kind of like their last final hurrah year, I feel.
Mm.
Because I think they do have quite of a banger lineup in terms of releases when you just look at them from like afar. You have the new Spider-Man film, Brand New Day, releasing at the end of July this year. And then you have Doomsday around Christmas. And then for the TV shows, you have season 2 for Daredevil, which me and you were super critical of the first season, but me and you have been really high on the second season, I feel. Like, we've been talking a lot more in terms of like we're excited for it. Like we're willing to give it a second chance, knowing what happened with the first season.
I'm much more interested in season 2. That being said, season 2 really has to stick the landing because season 1 left such a bad taste in my mouth that I was almost kind of put off. But I knew that the reason for it was something that nobody could have really anticipated. Well, no, okay, that's not entirely true. Anyways, not to get into that, but yeah, I think Daredevil season 2, or sorry, Born Again season 2 really has to stick the landing in order for me to like want to just get like I'm not gonna sit through an entire season of that if it's just gonna be more of the same. And
well, hey, bro, they're bringing back the what was the group called with Iron Fist, Jessica
the Defenders.
Jones, the Defenders.
I mean, I only saw Jessica Jones, so let's not get it.
Yeah, but bro, come on, bro. You know they're bringing back fucking the dude from Game of Thrones.
I don't think any of those other characters were nearly popular enough for them to really commit to that right now.
I'd probably argue the actor for Luke Cage was popular. I think people.
Well,
liked him
I don't know. He did some
stuff.
He right before or after those shows got canceled. Like something came out about him. And,
oh no.
It wasn't like I don't remember it being horrible, but it wasn't great either. So. I mean, he's been in other stuff, but yeah, I don't know.
Well, I think it's really interesting because they're also releasing the Punisher special this summer, and between Punisher, Daredevil, and Spider-Man, it seems like the three of them are gonna connect together on like a street level type of thing going on, which I think is at least interesting and goes back to like kind of the roots of the foundation of the MCU, which is for me, I feel like kind of the right steps. But these projects, like I said before, I feel like all need to hit.
Yeah.
Because these are the rest of the live action stuff.
I think Brand New Day will be good.
I'm so excited for that, but that's also because like I'm a fucking Spider-Man whore.
Yeah. Daredevil Born Again season 2 I think has a chance to succeed, just given the fact that they're not dealing with all those like production issues or development issues or whatever. Punisher, I mean, I have faith in that because I think John Bernthal wouldn't be involved with it if it wasn't up to like a certain standard. So that one I'm excited about. Yeah,
hard R.
Yeah. I've been hearing good things about Wonder Man. I haven't seen it. I'm not caught up on all the Marvel stuff. The most of the movies I think the only one that I haven't seen yet still is the Marvels. I don't know when I'm going to get to that. Some of the movies haven't, been as interesting.
I would say watch it before Doomsday.
Yeah. I liked Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four. They're not,
See, that's been their problem is the ones that have been better critically received have been the ones making less money.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. See, that's the problem too, is that I think it's one thing to be like, oh, Marvel is making better stuff now. But I think the problem is that it took so long for us to get over that heap of shit that was like post Infinity Saga, that people have kind of like started to tap out, and so that's why it's not seeing the amount of returns. And I'm not one to generally turn away from stuff that I think is like, because Thunderbolts is a hard sell regardless, because it's just side characters getting their own movie. But I think there was enough for me going into it, like having like being familiar with those characters enough to really get interested. And I thought that the marketing was really good for that. Fantastic Four, I think, again, is kind of a hard sell because it's a completely new cast of characters, and it doesn't really take place in the same world as all of the other MCU entries. But the thing that I liked about those movies is that they were trying something different, and it wasn't just the same fucking slop that they were churning out. And I think the Marvel universe is the like, as opposed to Star Wars, I think Marvel is a better place to like try and experiment with stuff. And I think that's really what the downfall was that after the Infinity Saga, they kind of just stopped like experimenting with stuff and just started putting out like stuff that they thought
they just
would
kept
be
thinking
interesting.
they'd make Iron Mans with a bunch of like C-list characters that I really felt like didn't have much interest as a character themselves. And like, what's up? Like, they're trying to build a whole young Avengers that ultimately isn't going to lead anywhere because it's been so long that all of the actors are like 30. And the Young Avengers are supposed to be like fucking mid to late teens. So you're not going to see Kate Bishop, who's a 27-year-old woman at this point. You're not going to see Yelena Belova, who's now like the new Avengers, whatever the fuck they want to call themselves. Like, so that Miss Marvel is like subjectively much younger than every other character outside of Spider-Man 2. So it's really weird. Like, they also introduce America Chavez and then never do anything with her. So that's the most frustrating part. And the thing that I think people are going to need to get ready to suck up is to have a lot of threads unanswered. And what I mean by threads, I mean a lot of the post-credit scenes. Like, I really think the Thor stuff is going to get abandoned with like Hercules coming for him.
Oh yeah, 100%.
With the actor from what was it?
Ted Lasso.
He was Ted Lasso. Like, what's gonna happen with the Doctor Strange 3 movie?
Oh,
or
we're
Doctor
never gonna
Strange
see.
2?
We're never gonna
That's
see
what
that.
I'm saying. Like, there's so many things where you're just like, that's cool. You're never gonna see the fucking Eternals with you're never gonna see Blade, first of all, let alone Jon Snow coming back as a Black Knight. So it's a lot of things like that people are gonna need to be ready to just rub off their shoulder and forget about in order to like move forward.
I mean, so much of that stuff sucked anyways, so I feel like it's not that
Personally, I did find some of
hard.
them interesting though.
I
Like,
mean,
dude,
some of them, but like
the Black Knight,
yeah,
not Moon Knight.
Blade.
Blade stuff I thought was really cool. Another character, Moon Knight, who I feel like
that one I think hurts the most for me
because I
thought
think
that
it's
was
so
a decent
cool
show.
and the show was fine, but I thought the idea, concept, and character is so interesting that I don't know how you don't keep doing it. But yet they keep giving, like, I love Loki as much as the next person, but move on, please. I'm sorry, like, the fact that they've made him as much of an important character as he is, they need to kill him in this next Avengers film because they just need to
if
move
he's
on.
even in it, is he gonna?
Bro,
be
there's
in
no
it?
way he's not gonna be if they're messing with time and space, or like moving to different
Dimensions
and stuff,
or whatever.
multiverses.
I don't know. I mean, that's just the problem is that
Like, bro,
so
Thor
much of the
too.
stuff-
Fucking Chris Hemsworth has said he plans on keep playing the character, and like I think that's the issue, is because they plan on doing a reboot between Doomsday and Secret Wars, because Secret Wars is kind of the reboot introduction film where they reset the timeline and introduce like the X-Men and the new younger version of the characters that we know now, so they could cast younger versions. Where I don't know, like, I'm afraid
that seems like a cop out though.
That's what I'm saying. I'm afraid that if they're not going to fully commit to it, and that's what's going to ruin it. And I think they need to, because that's ultimately what every comic series does. You know what I mean? And I hate to say that because people are
I think it can work. I just don't trust them to do it. That's
I don't
my
know.
problem.
I just don't know how constant you could keep making a vast world. Because I think that's like part of the issue with Marvel is maybe not how big it is, but I think they tried to explore too much too fast.
No,
'Cause
yeah,
they're
yeah,
trying to
100%.
explore like space, the multiverse, all within the same phase where it felt like those first 3 phases felt so defined in learning
Contained,
about
yeah.
the Infinity Stones. The person was coming to get in. You knew what the stones represented, and like all of those just kind of went out the door. I felt, and I'm not saying that the Jonathan Major stuff made it harder for them. But I will say I thought it was really questionable to go straight to Kang instead of Doom in the first place. Especially when Fantastic Four was already announced at that point. It really made me question it and made me think that they just put themselves in a hole, whether they thought so or not, once the Jonathan Major stuff happened.
I mean, I think their intention was always to bring the multiverses together and whatnot, which is probably why they chose Kang over Doom.
But they could have
And
still done it with Doom.
not to say that I don't think they were going to bring Doom into the picture like somewhere down the road either. Yeah, I don't know. I agree with what you're saying. Like, there's definitely been a little too much. They've been trying to put out too much stuff in a given time span, and it definitely felt like they weren't committing enough to certain ideas. And just to me, it felt like let's just throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. And that's not really a way you want someone to like run a franchise, and especially with the Disney Plus stuff, because now it's just gotten to the point where like I feel like a lot of people don't think it's worth even watching some stuff because they're just like, oh well, this isn't important, or we're never gonna see a continuation or a resolution to any of this stuff, which is I think is what's contributing to the fact that people aren't like watching any of this stuff. And it's gotten to me too. Like, I'm not really paying so much attention to a lot of the Disney Plus stuff because I just don't know if it's even worth it. Like, is any of this going to matter in the end?
Well, that's part of the problem with Wonder Man.
Yeah,
is it has that same formula. Is like it's good. It's got an interesting character, and I want to see more. But you don't know where it's going to lead or like what its influences.
Yeah, and I do think like with Doomsday they need to commit. They need to commit to a storyline, and they need to commit to making it like interconnect. You know, like a lot of this shit doesn't feel like it interconnects anymore. And like I know that it does, but in like a superficial way. Like you've got the Daredevil episode where Miss Marvel's dad shows up for an episode, and like that's not what I'm talking about. Like I need more than a cameo and an Easter egg. And that's the part of the thing where like everything felt like it was building up to the Infinity War and Endgame movies that I don't feel with the Doomsday stuff. And I think they had it going for like the start for Kang, and then, you know, all that shit got fucked up. But even then, it was just like so much of that stuff had nothing to do with anything. And like even the one movie that like actually had something to do with multiverses had nothing to do with Kang or Loki or any of that shit. And then the one movie that Kang was in had nothing to do with the multiverse stuff either.
And I think part of the issue with the Ant-Man film is they made Kang look like such a bitch in that movie. and so I think that already
Why?
gave
Because Ant-Man beat his ass so easily?
Not even just beat his ass. He kicked it, bro. And I'm not even saying that as a Kang Ant-Man fight. I'm talking about this like a Jonathan Majors Paul Rudd fight. Like, I'm sorry, and I thought like before anything even started poorly for them, this is where it started. Like they already made their primary big bad lose to Ant-Man. Like that's already so uninteresting.
I just think everything about that movie is so uninteresting that it was just a poor way to introduce Kang outside of Loki.
I do find it funny when you were talking about how like a lot of the primary issues come to like where people don't want to see things because they don't know where things are going to lead or where certain projects are going to have impact or not. And I thought to myself when you were saying that, man, it's so ironic that the one project in post Infinity War saga that you haven't watched was the Marvels is probably going to have the most impact in Doomsday. Because I have we spoken about the post credit scene for that movie? I think we have.
It's the one where what's his name shows up from.
Yeah, Kelsey Grammer's
Yeah,
Beast, and
which is,
well, it also
I know we talked about it. I know what happens in that post, and I'm pretty sure I told you before that it sounded dumb.
But bro, that's what I'm saying. You have to watch the end of the movie to understand how stupid it is, because it's going to be one of those pivotal, I think, plot points in how people travel from dimensions. Because I haven't seen the fucking movie since it released in theaters, but from what I remember is, oh my god, what's Rambo's daughter's name? Not Maria. Was it Maria? Is that the daughter's name, or
Whose?
the Rambo daughter?
Isn't it like Monica or something?
Yeah, but is the daughter Maria or Monica? I can't remember. I think it's Monica.
It's it's Monica. Monica Rambeau.
Okay, at the end of the Marvels, Monica like falls through one of the time warps, and then just appears in their dimension, Kelsey Grammer's. But when do you know who else appears in that universe when she wakes up?
Who?
It's an alternate version of her mother who plays Captain Marvel. Or who is Captain
it the one
Marvel?
from Multiverse of Madness, or is it
No, it's a different one. Yeah. So
okay,
that's why I'm really
confusing.
No, definitely not. That's why you got to watch it, just because I'm curious to know your thoughts on it.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna come back and be like, "Oh yeah, that sucked."
It sucked, but you're gonna be like, "Wow, that's like a different type of sucking."
Yeah. But you know, and that's another. I thought about this while you were saying that. Like, I think now it's gotten to the point where, like, because you said you saw the Marvels in theater, and I was gonna say something about like, "Oh, you went and saw that like in theaters, like you paid money for it." And I think that's the other thing. Like, I think a lot of people are kind of waiting to just watch it on streaming, because like if you're already paying for Disney Plus. You really, and this is something that happened with me too. Like, I didn't go and watch Thor: Love and Thunder because I heard that it wasn't very good. So I was like, well, I don't want to really pay money to go see that. I'll just wait until it lands on streaming. So I think that's another reason that's contributing to like the Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four flopping in theaters, is that on top of people not wanting, or maybe just being like tired out from the franchise, there are also people who are just like, I'm just gonna wait until it comes on streaming. And I don't exactly know how that whole metric works, but I don't think streaming is a really good way to measure like a movie's financial success. And I think that's what's contributing. Just streaming in general is just contributing to the fall of cinema, which is very unfortunate. And that's a whole different conversation. And a part of the reason why obviously no one's happy about this whole Warner Brothers, Paramount, Netflix three-way that you were talking about earlier. Like, it's really unfortunate, and because I feel like so much of the Disney and Marvel brand is built off of that like box office smash success, that so many of the Marvel movies were like the top the top movies just of every year for like a decade. And then they just haven't been able to recapture that, and I think the streaming stuff is part of it as well.
Yeah, the thing is I feel like a lot of people will go straight ahead and be like, Disney Plus bad, Disney Plus ruin everything for Disney. But I don't know. I still think streaming has a place. I just think too many people in the time when it got really popular just bought too much into it and thought too short-handed, too short-term, and not long-term, in which I feel like if they just made shows like the way they went into thinking with WandaVision and The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because I'll be honest, looking back at those two shows, those feel like in quality wildly different in both storytelling, I feel, and visual effects from what we've gotten over the past few years. Like, as much as I find Moon Knight interesting, I don't think on par visual effects wise it's that good. I don't think the character's that interesting from a writing standpoint. And I think overall the sets feel cheaper. Like everything felt like it came down after that a little bit, and it felt like because they put too much into the forefront of those two projects and trying to streamline, like they were making the Armor Wars show at one point that is supposed to be a film that's never going to get made, and that Vision Quest show that's also supposed to come out this year, but is actually a show that has been made, shot, written, and has set photos that people have seen. That has been pushed endlessly that I cannot even imagine how much the show will cost them at the end of the day, because I feel like it's been in production hell for so long, even though it's going to get released. So that's also another thing, the amount of projects they had to push back.
Yeah.
We've spoken a lot about Daredevil just almost being completely reworked halfway through the show. So there's so many things.
I wouldn't say completely, but
I don't know, bro. Halfway through the show, that's completely reworked. If you're going back after shooting half of the show,
I mean, I think my main
I
think that's what my main problem with Daredevil season 1 was that it didn't feel like it felt too much like they were trying to save the cost of reshooting it by including so much from what was originally shot.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I'm more frustrated with all this because at least I feel like Marvel and Star Wars have so much of the same problems, but have so much different solutions that I have no clue what Star Wars is going to do. But it's really aggravating when talking about Marvel more so because I feel like, I'm not saying the plan's like right there, but it really feels like they're so close to being able to figure it out and being able to get back on a track that feels like old Marvel that I feel like Star Wars is so far and away from that I really want Marvel to figure it out. And I really hope Bob Iger leaving fixes that, because it seems like a lot of the Disney issues have stemmed from them losing business and money when he first left and him coming back and trying to reverse a lot of things to make that money up.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that fixes with him gone sooner rather than later. And I'm not going to, I can't shit on Bob Iger because he made Disney and Marvel and Lucasfilms into what they are. Like, say what you want about Lucasfilms and Star Wars when they first bought them for the ridiculous amount. Disney fucking 50 times their value once they bought them with that branding. So they made Star Wars so much more mainstream that it's just hard to sit here and shit on Bobby Iger because I know the guy did so much for it, but I feel like his time has come to an end. And I just hope this time he does find the right successor for Disney, because this is a pivotal time, I think, in the brand.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's the same thing that I felt with Kathleen Kennedy. Like, there comes a point when you need to realize that that the decisions you're making are not benefiting it anymore, and that maybe it's time to like hand that decision over to someone else. And I don't know. Yeah, I think Bob Iger has made some good decisions, but he's also made some bad ones. Like continuing the live action remakes has just been a poor choice.
The animated department suffering tremendously outside of Utopia.
Yeah.
Like, that's another thing that we haven't, like, I don't want to get too much into it because we've been going so long, but it's not just like Star Wars and Disney that's been affected, but it's been like all quadrants of the Disney media market that have suffered from these same issues, just in different ways.
Well, I think that's why everyone gets like really bogged down when they're talking about Lucasfilm and Star Wars, by the fact that, like, you know, they always harp on the fact that everything went wrong after Disney bought Lucasfilm, which isn't entirely true. But I just think that I don't think Disney had a good understanding of where Lucasfilm would fit into their overall brand, and I think they tried too hard to like make it closer to Marvel. And then even on the flip side with Marvel, I think I think they didn't understand as well what made Marvel so good in the first place. Not, maybe good's not the word, but what made it such like a big
special
hit. Yeah, I definitely think that, and again, it just boils down to the same thing. It all depends on the next couple of releases and how well they do, like whether or not anyone's gonna have any kind of interest in it going forward.
Yeah, because I feel like Marvel's in that spot where they haven't fully lost everyone in the same sense that I think Star Wars has. Because dude, Star Wars is just really hard to talk about because, like you talk about people with Andor. It's not a Star Wars project, like because it's so much better in quality from what everything else that Star Wars has been.
I mean, Andor still feels like it fits into the Star Wars universe, even though it has a different tone and kind of a different style.
But it's so much a different quality from what everything else is that I think is the issue with it. That it just makes it so much better.
That makes Andor so much better.
Yeah,
or that makes everything else so much worse. No, it makes
Andor both. It makes Andor so much better because it makes everything else seem so much worse because of how much like effort, production, time they put into like this project. One that you don't see in like Obi-Wan, which is like so unfortunate.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan was not very good.
Yeah, no, I don't know. No, we don't need to talk about Obi-Wan. Yeah, I think we're getting into the culmination of all this like bad press, and bad word of mouth from both of those IPs, the Marvel and the Star Wars stuff, and we're gonna find out in the next year or so how things are gonna go. We're getting out of the speculation era and into the results era.
This conversation is going to be interesting to come back to like every time we talk about a major like Marvel release this year because I feel like me and you like we'll probably talk about Avengers and Spider-Man this year.
Yeah. I mean, Spider-Man's literally the last thing on our schedule right now for what is that? September, I think.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's going to connect plot points somehow with Daredevil and Punisher because they both come out before that. We're going to be talking about those in that review, I assume. So it's going to be like a 6-month mark, I'd say, even though it's not. It's a little bit under. But like 6 months till Doomsday check-in, and then we get to Doomsday and be like, all right, guys, Disney's or Marvel's fucked in the can. But do you have any like final statements or anything you wanted to talk about before we do wrap ups?
Not really. I'm ready for all this to be over. I'm tired of hearing about Paramount and like bidding more for
hey, they're up their share amount to $31.
Yeah, I just give it to Netflix, please. I've already chosen the lesser evil, so just give it to them. I don't want to hear about this anymore. And same with like the Disney Star Wars stuff, like just
end it. Yeah. Just put a bullet in your head.
Like, let's get on with it. And I guess we didn't talk about it either. The whole structure of the way that they've been marketing Doomsday really pisses me off. But that's whatever.
Those trailers were peak, bro. What are you talking about?
No, they weren't.
You didn't like seeing Chris Evans come back as
Fuck
Captain
you,
America? No, not as Captain America, but as Steve Rogers.
Dude, fucking. Did I send that video, that reel to you, where they like layered over like some generic
no
medicine ad? Like,
no,
because they were essentially saying that the trailer looks like some fucking ad for some random medicine or whatever, and it is that's what it looked like.
It's close enough.
Yeah, but. I am ready for it to be over. I just want to get to the point where we can stop talking about this, and we can just, start either moving on or moving back toward either of these franchises. I don't know if that made sense, but yeah.
All right, and yeah, without that said, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us in the club this week. Don't forget, God, this is going to be a very long outro now that we're on so many different platforms. Remember to like us and leave us a comment down below on what you think is going on with Disney and Marvel and everything in the media film sphere right now. But also, if you're checking us out on Spotify and Apple, don't forget to leave us a review and 5 stars. We deeply appreciate it, and we'll see you guys on the next one for our episode on Scream 7, which should be an interesting one. From me, from Leo, peace.